Okay, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? Good afternoon, sir. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So today we are on to the next chapter. Okay. So since we are starting with the money market now, first of all, let me divide its units so that you are clear with what the plan is, right? And then we will start our discussion on today's agenda. Okay. So friends, money market is the name of the chapter. As the name suggests, we are going to speak about money and money related transactions in this topic, in this chapter. Friends, this chapter is divided into three parts. As you can see, this chapter is divided into three portions. Sir, what are the three portions, sir? Number one, we will be discussing the concept of demand for money. This is today's agenda, today's class. So today's full class will be spent on discussing this, on the topic demand for money. Today's full class will be spent on this. Then whenever there is a talk on demand, there will be a talk on supply. Correct. So that is going to be our second class agenda. That would be supply for money. So class 1, class 2. And in class 3, you remember last day we spoke about fiscal policy. This time we are going to talk about monetary policy. Monetary policy. I told you na, to expand or contract money supply, fiscal and monetary policy both are used. Fiscal policy we completed in the last class, and monetary policy is going to be discussed in the third class of this chapter. Understood? So this is today's agenda, next day, and the later day. This is the planning. Hopefully everyone is clear. So sir, you are telling us that money market will take us 3 classes to discuss. Absolutely yes. I hope the plan is perfectly fine. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, then. Done. So now let's talk about demand for money or demand of money, whatever you want to call it. Demand for money or demand of money. The name of the chapter or the unit. Before we talk about demand for money or supply for money, it is imperative that we talk about money. इसके पहले कि अपने डिमांड फॉर मनी या सप्लाई फॉर मनी के बारे में बात करें, जरूरी ये हो जाता है कि हम लोग मनी के बारे में बात करें. ठीक है ना? ऑल राइट. सो एवरीवन, वी स्पीक अबाउट मनी नाउ. वी स्पीक अबाउट मनी नाउ. What is money? It is a liquid financial asset. Sir, what is liquid? Liquid means in the form of cash. Liquid means in the form of cash, readily usable. Okay. So there is no proper definition of money, but for policy purposes, we can write for policy purposes, we can define money for policy purposes, mind you, for policy purposes, mind you, we can define money as the set of liquid means easily convertible to cash, as the set of liquid financial assets, as the set of liquid financial asset because it is going to give benefit in the future. Financial, obviously you understand finance. Liquid is easily convertible to cash. The variation in the stock of which the variation in stock of which the variation on stock of which could impact aggregate economic activity. Could impact aggregate economic activity. The variation of stock of which could impact aggregate economic activity. Is that clear, friends? Yes, sir. So, sir, what is money? For policy purposes, we define money as the set of liquid financial assets. The variation in stock of which, stock means the quantity of money available in the economy, be it demand or be it supply, which will affect the entire economy. Understood? For example, I could say if in economy money supply is increased, if in economy money supply is increased, then aggregate demand in the economy will rise because everybody will have money. Yes or no? If money supply is reduced, then demand will fall in the economy because now lesser people have money. This is what I'm trying to say. The quantity of money straight away determines the aggregate economic activity taking place. Hence, we say that we are discussing here. Hence, we say we are discussing here the concept of demand for money, where we will discuss the money's overall impact. Money's overall impact from the demand point of view, because the topic is demand for money. Is so far so good, clear, everybody? Now, sir, what is the function of money? I can tell you a poem. You can remember money's function or features by money is a function of four. Repeat after me. Money is a function of four: a medium, a medium, a measure, a standard, a store. Money is a function of four, mainly four. Money is a function of four: medium, a measure, a standard, a store. Please remember there are other functions of money as well. These are the main functions that I am explaining you. Okay. Money is a function of four: a medium, a measure, a standard, a store. A medium, a measure, a standard, a store. Okay. Now please pay attention. Now please pay attention. Sir, what does medium means? Means money can be used as a medium to exchange goods and services. For example, if you want to buy some good or you want to buy some service, you can give money and take it. Measure. Measure means valuation of different goods and services. Okay. For example, I'm writing with this pen. So suppose the valuation of this pen is 10,000 rupees. So this is valued in terms of money. Its value is expressed in terms of money. You buy a water bottle. Its value is expressed in terms of money. A medium, a measure, a standard. Sir, what is standard? Standard means future payments. Standard means, repeat after me, future payments. Payments for future. Payment for future. Payments for future. And finally, store. If you want to store money for future, you can do that. So it is talking about savings function of money, where you can save money. Standard means future calculation becomes easy. Okay. Suppose somebody has taken from me a loan of rupees 1 lakh. So I charge 10% on them. So 1 lakh ka 10% is, 10,000 rupees. So I can get in the future, 3 years, 4 years later, 1,40,000, 1,30,000 along with interest. Yes or no? Yes, sir. So future payments become easier to calculate and finally collect because of money. Is so far so good, clear, everybody? Yes or no? Yes or no, everyone? Very good, sir. This is very basic stuff going on. Very basic stuff going on. Right. Now there are some features. After features, we will talk about the main discussion. Okay. We'll get into the main discussion. Okay. Features. So if you talk about the features of money, the feature of money could be number one, it is generally acceptable. Means nobody will say no to money. Nobody will say no to money. Generally acceptable in exchange of any goods or services we have delivered. It is durable, that is long lasting. Money is durable, that is long lasting. Money is durable, meaning it's long lasting. It's difficult to counterfeit. Counterfeit means duplicate. Difficult to counterfeit. It's very difficult to create a duplicate of money. Yes, it is going on, but very difficult. And finally, money is portable. Portable means can easily be transported from one place to another. Easily transportable from one place to another. Easily transportable from one place to another. Friends, is this crystal clear? Yes or no? Come on, everybody. So, it is number one, generally acceptable. It is durable, that is, it lasts longer. It's difficult to counterfeit and easily transportable. I hope it's crystal clear to everyone. If anybody wants to take screenshot, do it. हिंदी में बोल देता हूं, मनी कोई भी ऐसा असेट है जो कि लिक्विड है, मतलब कैश के रूप में अवेलेबल है. इसके चार फंक्शंस होते हैं. पहला, मीडियम ऑफ एक्सचेंज, मतलब मनी को आप देकर कोई भी सामान खरीद सकते हो. मेजर, किसी भी सामान की कीमत आप मनी के हिसाब से नाप सकते हो. स्टैंडर्ड, आपको किसी भी पेमेंट को फ्यूचर में करना है तो आप उसको मनी के सकते हो. और लास्ट में स्टोर, मतलब अगर आपको पैसा स्टोर करना है फ्यूचर के लिए तो आप मनी के टर्म्स में कर सकते हो. स्टैंडर्ड का मतलब होता है कि किसी को आपको फ्यूचर में पे करना है तो आप उसको मनी के टर्म्स में कंप्यूट कर सकते हो कितना पे करना है. ठीक है ना. और फीचर्स, जनरली एक्सेप्टेबल, मतलब मनी हर कोई एक्सेप्ट करता है. ड्यूरेबल, मनी लंबे समय तक टिकता है. मनी को कॉपी करना या उसकी डुप्लीकेट बनाना मुश्किल है. और मनी इजीली ट्रांसपोर्टेबल है, मतलब एक जगह से दूसरे जगह ले जाना पैसा काफी आसान है. ये कुल मिलाकर बातचीत है दोस्तों. उम्मीद है क्लियर रहा होगा. यस और नो, कम ऑन एवरीवन. इज दिस क्लियर सो फार? कम ऑन एवरीवन. नाउ फ्रेंड्स, आई एम टेलिंग यू अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेटमेंट. काउंटरफिट का मतलब है डुप्लीकेट बनाना. आशंका, योर क्वेश्चन इज मीनिंग ऑफ काउंटरफिट. आशंका, counterfeit means creating a duplicate of money. Nanda is asking, sir, how is money long lasting? I'll give you an example. If you have a 10 rupee coin, if you have a 10 rupee coin, then you can store it. If you maintain it, it will last for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You see, if I have it, I'll show it to you. Even not even 10 rupee coin, na. Suppose if I have a 500 rupee note here. Okay. Suppose I have a 500 rupee note here. So this 500 rupee note that I am having, if I maintain it well, then it will last for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. No harm is being done to this. It's not like a fruit. In barter world, they used to pay via fruits. Fruits I cannot save for 50 years. Money I can save. Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes, sir, you are correct. Yes, sir, you are correct. So the features are, it's generally acceptable, it's long lasting, it's difficult to counterfeit, and it's easily transportable. Is that clear, everyone? Very basic discussion is going on. But now the discussion will not be so basic. Okay. If you all have studied in your 11, 12, class 11, 12 used to end here, isn't it? Which we have done in just one page. But now starts the actual discussion. Friends, statement number one, I am going to tell you and you are going to note it down. Demand for money is a derived demand. Demand for money is a derived demand. Meaning of derived demand, you have studied in the microeconomics heading. In the microeconomics portion, you have studied the meaning of it. Demand for money is, derived demand. Sir, what does it mean actually? Sir, what does it mean actually? Can you tell us? Derived demand का मतलब होता है, I'll revise. You must have done. See, there is one thing called direct demand, other thing is called derived demand. Let me give you an example. Friends, my question to you is, why are you all attending this class today? You all have economics book given by ICAI. Okay, why are you attending this class then? Just answer the question, so the meaning of derived demand will be clear. You all have the book, then why are you attending this class? Right, sir. So friends, demand for money is a derived demand. Now the meaning is, you all will tell, sir, we are attending the class because we want to understand economics even better. We are attending the class because we want to understand economics better, to understand it more clearly. So you have the direct demand. You have the direct demand for economics lecture, for the clarity of economics. Your direct demand is clarity of economics concept. Because there is a demand for clarity of economic concept, then arises the demand for a teacher like me who is going to help you achieve that. So my demand is a derived demand. My demand is a derived demand. Direct demand is for economics clarity. Because of that, my demand has arose. Hence, derived demand. Similarly, nobody wants to have money. Actually, people wants to have goods and services. People want to, spend their vacation in a resort or a villa. Okay. People want to buy car. People want to buy bungalow. People want to buy flat, whatever the need may be. So there is a direct demand for those items. Since there is a direct demand for those items, how can you buy those items? With the help of money. So money helps us satisfy that demand. Hence, demand for money is derived demand, as it satisfies the direct demand for goods and services. Understood now? As it satisfies the direct demand for goods and services. Now it's clear. As it satisfies the direct demand for goods and services. I hope it's crystal clear, everyone. Goods and services. And now remember one thing. I'll tell you this. Remember this. Demand for money. What does it mean? What does it mean? Demand for money? Very vague statement. Now let me clear. Actually, demand for money doesn't mean demand for money. It means demand for liquidity. Liquidity. When people say I want money, it means they are wanting liquidity, not money as such. So it is demand for money is nothing but demand for liquidity. Sir, what is liquidity? Liquidity means ease of conversion to cash. Ease of conversion to cash. So demand for money is nothing but basically demand for liquidity. Yes, sir. It's clear. Now we are going to study the factors affecting demand for money, or the variables affecting demand for money. Variables affecting demand for money, or the factors affecting demand for money. Variables affecting demand for money or factors affecting demand for money. Variables slash factors affecting demand for money. Please pay attention. Variables or factors affecting demand for money. Friends, number one is income and expenditure. Number one is income and expenditure. See, higher your income, अगर आपके इनकम ज्यादा है, हायर योर एक्सपेंडिचर, तो आपके खर्चे भी ज्यादा होंगे. अगर इनकम ज्यादा है, खर्चे ज्यादा है, तो पैसा भी तो ज्यादा लगेगा. सो डिमांड फॉर मनी विल बी मोर, डिमांड फॉर लिक्विडिटी विल बी मोर, डिमांड फॉर कैश विल बी मोर. Oh, sir, we understood. If you have a high income, automatically you'll have a high expenditure. If you are having a high expenditure, automatically demand to satisfy that expenditure, demand of money to satisfy that expenditure is going to be more. Exactly my point. So higher the income, higher the expenditure, higher the demand for money. Higher the demand for money. So in simple language, here there is a direct relationship. Here there is a direct relationship. In short, use a different color. Direct relationship, I hope you understand. If one rises, the other is going to rise as well. Direct relationship, I hope you understand. If one rises, then the other is going to rise as well. Sir, we understand this. Sir, we understand this. Is that clear, everyone? Right, sir. Understood, everybody? Yes, sir. Now moving on to the second point. Income and expenditure. Higher the income, higher the expenditure, higher the demand for money. Moving on to the second point. Moving on to the second point. What else it is? Price level. Very important. Friends, suppose you want to buy a piece of bread. Suppose 10 years back, the bread was costing 10 rupees. So your demand for money would be 10 rupees because for 10 rupees you will buy a bread. But dear students, if today the bread costs 50 rupees, you will want what? 50 rupees to buy that bread? Yes or no? Exactly my point. So if the price increases, the demand for money also increases. So if the price rises, demand for money is written as MD will also rise. Hence, again, you see here is a direct relationship. Again, you see here is a direct relationship. Is that clear, dear students? Yes, sir, it's crystal clear to us. Third one is what, sir? Third one is what, sir? Interest rate. Third one is what, sir? Interest rate. Ah, very important. Interest rate. Now, friends, if interest rate is high, you tell me one thing. If interest rate is high, what will you want to do? You will want to store more money in your bank. Tell me now. If interest rate is high, will you want to store more money in your bank? Or will you want to hold money? Of course, we will want to put money in the bank as bank will give us high rate of interest. So automatically the demand for liquidity, that is cash form of money, will reduce. Why? Because you will want to enjoy the interest, high interest. अगर इंटरेस्ट रेट ज्यादा है तो अपने तो चाहेंगे ना उस इंटरेस्ट रेट को एंजॉय करें, पैसा कमाएं उससे। हाँ या ना बोलिए आप लोग कि आप क्या करना चाहेंगे। आप आप पैसा रखना चाहेंगे तब भी जब इंटरेस्ट हाई है। ऑफ कोर्स सर, हम भी पैसा कमाना चाहेंगे। सो मनी का डिमांड कम होगा ना, तब वही तो बोल रहे हैं। Yes, sir. We understand that. And hence, your answer would be inverse relationship. Your answer would be inverse relationship. Is that clear? Yes, sir, it's clear. The fourth point. The fourth point. Everyone. So there is inverse relationship for the first time we have seen. Financial innovation. Friends, you all know UPI payments have become active. For UPI payments, some use GPay, some use, this, what do we call it? Paytm, Phone Pay. Yes or no? Internet banking has become easier. So when innovation is on the rise, then do I need to carry cash? See, UPI payment has become so easy that do we need to actually carry cash? No, no. And hence, demand for money has fallen. Again, the same thing, inverse relationship. But suppose if we go into the old days, you all tell me now one thing. You all have registered with ICAI for your CA foundations. How did you register? Did you pay cash to ICAI or you did online payment? You all tell me. You all tell me. Did you pay cash to ICAI or you all did online payment? Of course, survey did internet banking or UPI, whatever payment. That is what I'm saying. Financial innovation. More the innovation, the demand for money reduces. Understood, not understood, dear students? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So to sum it up, higher the income, higher the demand for money. Price level, higher the price, higher the demand for money. Interest rate. If interest rate is high, then we will want to keep the money in the bank, because if I am keeping the money with my house in my house, then will I get interest? No. If I keep the money with bank, I will get interest. So higher the interest, lower the demand for money, because I will not want to keep the money in my home. I will demand less of money. I'll let the money be in my bank. And financial innovation, more the innovation, lesser the demand for money, because payments become, or buying goods and services become that easy. Exactly. So see, all of you are writing online payment. Exactly my point. Since you were doing online payment of 9,000 or 10,000, whatever the sum is, so you did not have to carry bulk of cash in your home. Exactly my point. Friends, is that crystal clear? Yes or no? Come on. Very good. Now, friends, we are going to study, because it's an MCQ, we should not stay in one topic. Otherwise, so it will take 5 to 6 classes to cover only one head. Okay, friends? Since it's an MCQ examination, you got to be that fast. Let's see. Theories of demand for money. Theories of demand for money. Theories of demand for money. Different theories of demand for money exist, and that's what we are going to study. Theory of demand for money. Let me classify it under 4 different heads. Under 4 different heads, theory of money demand comes. Each one you will have to remember from the MCQ's standpoint. So first one is quantitative theory of money, quantity theory of money, QTM, quantity theory, quantity theory. It is also called classical theory. It is also called classical theory. Friends, then comes cash balance approach, cash balance approach, which you could say is, the Cambridge approach, or the new neoclassical approach, the Cambridge theory. People like Alfred Marshall, etc., were involved here. So it's neoclassical in nature. Neoclassical means something that comes after classical, or what else. Then came the LPT, liquidity preference theory. Liquidity preference theory. Now, this liquidity preference theory is also called Keynesian theory. You have studied about Keynes. There was a chapter on Keynes. Yes? So, Keynesian theory. Keynesian theory. Liquidity preference theory, there is Keynesian theory. And then there is post-Keynes theory. Post-Keynes theory. Under post-Keynes theory, friends, you have Baumol, Friedman, you have Baumol, there is Tobin, there is Friedman, Baumol, Tobin, Friedman. Different people have different theories. So see, there are so many theories we have to study. That's why for each theory, we will do only the more important or most important parts. Okay. So there is quantitative theory of money, cash balance, liquidity preference theory, post-Keynes theory, Baumol, Tobin, and Friedman theory. Is that clear, everyone? Before I explain, I'll make you write one more notes, because that's going to help you remember this from the MCQ's point of view. So first is QTM, that is the classical approach, quantity theory of money. Then you have the cash balance, new classical approach or the Cambridge approach, the liquidity preference theory, where we talk about Mr. Keynes, and finally post Keynes theory, which include people like Friedman, then Tobin, then Baumol. All these are covered here. Okay, great. Now, friends, before I start, you may tell that sir is wanting us to learn. Yes, I am wanting that. So remember that when you talk about classical approach, then remember that under classical approach, friends, under classical approach, that, acha, by the way, classical approach is also called Fisher's approach, So the classical approach or the Fisher approach that we have, the classical approach or the Fisher approach that we have, the classical approach or the Fisher approach that we have, friends, pay attention. The classical approach or the Fisher approach that we have is from the viewpoint of transaction motive. Sir, what is the meaning of transaction motive? We don't know. I know. I will explain that. Right, just write down. That classical or the Fisher approach talks about transaction motive of money. Then comes the cash balance or the new classical approach. Cash balance or the new classical approach. It talks about transaction motive as well as precautionary motive. It talks about transaction motive plus precautionary motive. It talks about transaction motive plus precautionary motive. Okay. And the third one, everyone, is there is classical, there is cash balance, and then is liquidity preference theory. Liquidity preference theory. Then, friends, you have the liquidity preference theory. As per the liquidity preference theory, all the three are the goals. Transaction precautionary. Huh? In the liquidity preference theory, you have the transaction motive, you have the precautionary motive, you have the transaction motive, you have the precautionary motive, as well as you have speculative motive. Sir, please tell the meaning of each one of them. Surely I will do that. First, let us take a screenshot if anyone it's not clear. I will tell you again. Classical approach talks about transaction motive. Cash balance or neoclassical talks about transaction motive and precautionary motive, while liquidity preference theory, LPT, talks about transaction motive, precautionary motive, as well as speculative motive. I hope it's crystal clear, everybody. Come on, friends. Yes or no? Come on, guys. So far, so good, I guess. Is this clear, everybody? Yes, sir, it's crystal clear to us. So that's great then. Friends. So now I'll repeat it for you all. If you talk about theories of demand for money, you have quantitative theory, which is called the classical or the Fisher approach, cash balance, which is the Cambridge or the new classical approach, LPT, that is the Keynesian theory, liquidity preference theory, and post Keynes you had Baumol, Tobin, Friedman, etc. Okay. The first three, from my understanding, is more important than the fourth one. The first three are more important. And so our attention is going to be on the first three. This is what I believe. Okay. All right. So now, sir, first of all, you tell us the transaction motive of money. What is transaction motive? Transaction motive, I will explain in English as well as Hindi. Transaction motive is the motive behind holding money, where I am holding the money for the sake of buying goods and services. बस ट्रांजैक्शन मोटिव का मतलब है कि मैं गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज इस मनी को इसलिए होल्ड कर रखा हूं, कैश को अपने पास इसलिए रख रखा हूं जिससे मैं गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को खरीद सकूं. कहानी खत्म. जिससे मैं गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज को खरीद सकूं. बस खत्म. कैश बैलेंस या न्यू क्लासिकल अप्रोच बोलता है, क्या बोलता है कि मैं मनी को इसलिए होल्ड करता हूं, आई होल्ड मनी बिकॉज नंबर वन आई वांट टू बाय गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, दैट इज द ट्रांजैक्शन मोटिव, प्लस प्रिकॉशनरी, प्रिकॉशनरी मींस some emergency may arise, some emergency may arise, so I need extra cash for that. So in addition to the regular transactions, I also keep money for some emergency, that is called precautionary motive, precautionary motive. Okay. And finally you have the liquidity preference theory. Friends, liquidity preference theory tells us that we are holding money for three reasons. Number one, for the transaction that we are doing, that is buying goods and services. Precaution, किसी इमरजेंसी के लिए पैसे को बचा के रखना. एंड फाइनली स्पेक्यूलेटिव मोटिव. स्पेक्यूलेटिव मोटिव मीन्स टू टेक benefit, to take advantage. For example, I got to understand that Reliance share prices are going to rise in a hefty way. So what I do is I keep extra money so that I can take advantage. I will buy more of it, more of Reliance shares. So speculative is just to make windfall gains, just to take advantage when there is an opportunity. That is called speculative. That is also called speculative motive or speculative logic behind holding money. Transaction motive is to buy goods and services. Precautionary motive is to prevent such certain risk. And speculative motive is, to take advantage of the fluctuations, to take advantage of the rising profits. Understood or not understood? Come on, everybody. Yes, it's clear. Yes, it's clear. Transaction motive, there is precautionary motive, there is speculative motive. So what is liquidity preference theory? It talks about transaction motive, it talks about precautionary motive, it talks about speculative motive behind holding money. Is this clear, friends, so far? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Great. Great, 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 great. Please remember, this is very important from the MCQ's point of view. Very, very important, in fact. Okay, let's go ahead now. Now we'll talk about the classical theory of money, also called the quantity theory of money. Now we are going to talk about the classical theory of money or the quantity theory of money. Okay, so let's do the same, friends. Classical theory, we put a dash and write, quantity theory of money, QTM. So what equation does it say? You will have to understand. Quantity theory of money, QTM. It was given by who? I'll make you write some points. So write along with me. It will be very beneficial. Okay. Or else the notes will unnecessarily become too lengthy for you all. Yes. Karthik's speculative is for future gains. Okay. All right. So now coming back to the, classical theory, let's write down. It was given by Irving Fisher. Propounded. Propounded matlab proposed or given by, propounded by Irving Fisher. Irving Fisher. This method is also called as equation of exchange. Equation of exchange. This is also called equation of exchange or transaction approach or transaction approach or transaction approach. But sir, what equation does it give? What equation does it give? There are two equations. The equations are two. There are two equations that it gives. One is with only actual money. With actual money means mainly cash. Actual money means cash. And here the other equation is with actual money plus credit money. Credit, what is credit money? Money in the banks, money that you keep in the bank. So there are two equations. Sir, we do have to remember these equations. Yes, full stop. Yes, full stop. Okay. Now, please pay attention. Here the equation is M into V equals to P into T. Yes, you will ask me, sir, what is M, what is V, what is P, what is T? I will write all of them down. Before that, it is important that you note this down. I will write what is M, what is V, what is P, what is T. I'll write down everything. Right? Now, another thing is MV, that is with credit money as well. MV plus M dash V dash is equals to PT, is equals to PT, is equals to PT. Clear? Yes or no? Yes, sir, it's clear. So here with actual money, we have been given MV equals to PT and MV plus M dash V dash is equals to PT. This two we have been given. These two we have been given. All right. Sir, what next? Sir, what next, sir? So let me tell you that once we have understood this, everybody, once we have understood that is MV plus M dash V dash equals to PT, once we have understood this, now let's proceed with the meaning of each one of them. M is the total money in circulation. मतलब कितना पैसा इकोनॉमी में सर्कुलेट हो रहा है. Total money in circulation. Total money in circulation. Total money in circulation. V, transaction velocity, transaction velocity of circulation. Transaction velocity of circulation. Transaction velocity of circulation. P, average price level. P, average price level. P, average price level. T, total number of transactions. T, total number of transactions. T is total number of transactions. M dash, total quantity. M dash is total quantity of credit money. M dash is total quantity of credit money. M dash is total quantity of credit money. And sir, what is transaction velocity of circulation? I will discuss that. V dash is velocity of circulation of bank money. 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 Please note this down. Samriddin, speculative advantage. You have money is kept to take advantage and no advantage is given. आप पैसे इसलिए रखते हो कि कल को कोई फ्लक्चुएशन हो तो कुछ मान लीजिए आपको पता लगा कोई शेयर बढ़ने वाला है, शेयर का प्राइस, तो आप उसको खरीद के उसका प्रॉफिट कर लिए. उसके लिए पैसे पैसे तो कैश के फॉर्म में रखने पड़ेंगे ना. बस उतना ही बात चल रहा है. खैर जो भी है, एवरीबडी कॉपी डाउन. Okay, great. Friends, once you have noted it down, please tell me so that I can start explaining. Done. Okay, now. Now, friends, what is transaction velocity of circulation? The best definition I found was in our ICAI mat. So I'll show it to you. See, transaction value of circulation is the average number of times across all transactions a unit of money spent in purchasing goods and services. So, for example, I buy a 10 rupees goods from somebody. I give them 10. Now, this 10 rupees they give it to somebody else. So, circulation 1, circulation 2. This 10 rupees they gave it to somebody else. Circulation 3. So, how many times this way money circulates before getting into the bank? That is called transaction velocity, yeah, velocity of circulation. I hope it's clear now. Yes or no? Number of times money circulates. Number of times cash circulates in for a transaction. Cash circulates for a transaction. Number of times cash circulation takes place. Hopefully it's crystal clear. V dash is velocity of circulation of bank money. Is that clear, everybody? Come on, everybody. Very good. Is this clear now? Yes, sir, it's clear. Now, please pay attention. Important. Some important points I am writing for MCQ preparation. Important points for MCQ preparation. Important points for MCQ preparation I am writing. Please start noting down. And if you have doubt in any, please ask me the same. Number one. Number one. Number one. Volume of transactions is fixed in short run. What is volume of transaction? That is T. ऊपर वाले इक्वेशन में आप देखो ना, T है ना, ये फिक्स्ड है. T is fixed. Again, V and V dash are fixed. V and V dash means velocity of circulation. That is this one and this one are fixed. ICI may ask, what is assumed to be fixed? So you need to remember T is fixed, V and V dash are fixed. This you need to remember. Fixed means constant, does not change. And here when I say credit money, credit means demand deposits. जो पैसा बैंक से जब चाहे निकाल सकते हो. Credit money is the demand deposits with banks. What is the credit money? Demand deposits. So you can write credit money means demand deposit with banks. Credit money is nothing but demand deposits with bank. वो पैसे जो आपको जब बैंक को बोलो, बैंक को आपको देने पड़ेंगे. Demand deposits with banks. Demand deposit with banks. Now remember, here P into T is called the demand. Fourth thing is P into T is called demand for money. Okay? P into T is called demand for money. And MV plus M dash V dash is called supply for money or supply of money, not for. Supply of money. Friends, these are the things you need to take screenshot of. If you've understood this much, I think your MCQ knowledge is enough. मतलब MCQ के लिए you don't need anything else. V and V dash are always fixed. V and V dash are always fixed. When I don't say time, don't talk about time. When there is need to talk about time, I will talk about time. Meaning, when volume of transaction is fixed, in short run I have written. Here I have not written time element, means you don't have to think anything else. Okay? Yes. Credit money is the demand deposit with banks. Is this clear? Constant means they don't change. Yes, in reality, they do change. In reality, the transaction is not the constant. But for the sake of this equation, as you know, economics is based on a lot of assumptions, right? From micro to macro. So here we are discussing those assumptions, you could say. All right. Please note it down as they are important for MCQ. So that now I want to talk about neoclassical approach, and I'll do that. Once you have copied this much down, copied or taken screenshots, whatever works for you. I'll show it from the beginning. Screenshot, please. If not done, taken. Very good. Screenshot, please. Okay, thank you. Screenshot, please. Okay. Screenshot, please. Okay. Now moving on. Now moving on. Now we talk about the neoclassical approach. Now we talk about the neoclassical approach or the cash balance approach. And please remember that we will have to be a little fast, because we have been allotted only one class for this by the institute. So if I stick to one topic for a larger time period, then the rest of the topics will be compromised in that process. So neoclassical approach, and whatever is relevant, I have written. So no need to go beyond that. Okay. Neoclassical approach, cash balance approach, neoclassical approach, you call it cash balance approach. You also call it Cambridge approach. Cambridge approach. Cambridge approach. Neoclassical approach or the cash balance approach. The Cambridge approach. The Cambridge approach. All right. So let's talk about it now. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, sir. Who put forward this approach? First of all, who put forward this approach? These were the Cambridge economists. Who were they? Alfred Marshall. Pigot. You all remember we have studied about Pigot earlier also. D.H. Robertson. And all of your favorite, Keynes was also here. Because then Keynes was associated with Cambridge. Then Keynes also drafted a separate model. What is this concept? As per this, the concept is that is demand for money, कितना money लोगों को चाहिए, is equals to proportion of income the people want to hold as cash into income of people. Proportion of income people want to hold. Proportion of income people want to hold as cash. Proportion of income people want to hold as cash into multiplied by income of the people into income of the people into income of the people. So you could say demand for money, the actual equation is this one. K. K is the proportion. It is called the Cambridge constant. It is the K into PY. So what is MD here? Write it along with me. MD is demand for money. What is MD, everybody? Demand for money. MD is demand for money. MD is demand for money, right? MD is demand for money. Y is real national income. Y is real national income. P is average price level. P is average price level. P is average price level, and PY is nominal income. And PY is nominal income. Nominal income means income in the form of cash that people are getting, really is after excluding the inflation effect. So MD equals to KPY. Acha, sir, K you have not written. Okay, K I will write. First you note this down. Everybody note this down or take a screenshot. Here it is. Here it is. Now here it is. Sir, K you have not written. I will write it down. K is nothing but the proportion of income of people that they want to hold as cash. Suppose my income is 10,000, for example. So if my income is 10,000, 60% of it I want to keep as cash, for example. So 6,000 I want to keep as cash. K is 60% or 6 by 10. Got it? That is K. So K represents proportion of, K represents proportion of nominal income, proportion of nominal income that people want to hold as cash, that people want टू होल्ड एज कैश, जो लोगों को कैश के रूप में होल्ड करना है उसको हम लोग के बोलते हैं. के इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज कैम्ब्रिज के, कैम्ब्रिज कांस्टेंट, कैम्ब्रिज के. Write it down please. And the equation is MD, that is money demand, equals to KPY, is equals to KPY, equals to KPY. Is that done so far? Yes sir, done. Screenshot done? Yes sir. Now here it assumes, it assumes people hold wealth due to number one, transaction motive, you remember, for conducting, for buying and service, goods and services, and also for precautionary motive, that is to temporary store of wealth against uncertainty. कुछ भी खराब सिनेरियो आ गया तो उस समय पैसा चाहिए, तो it talks about that. It talks about transaction as well as precautionary motive. So I have made you write all this earlier only, so no need repeating it, but I hope you understand this. That is the logic behind this entire thing, that money demand equals to K into PY, where P represents the average price level, Y represents the real national income, so PY represents the nominal national income. I hope it's crystal clear, everybody. Come on, guys. Very, very good. So friends, as you all already know, now I am allowing you all, those who want to go for a break, they can go for a 10 minutes break, and the others, please ask the doubts. Please ask doubts. I am sitting here only. I am not going anywhere. So you can please ask the doubts. Start. Please ask doubts. Go ahead. Sir, in case of precautionary motive, do we hold cash in our home or what like in bank we do? Okay. So in precautionary motive, you hold generally the money. When we are talking about precautionary motive here, it includes the money you have with bank because it is also liquid or money you have in the form of cash. That is allowed. Both is allowed. No, Clevin. Mr. Clevin Torres is asking whether these approaches work in real life. It will be very difficult. You will not be able to identify the factors only like K, P, and Y since they are based on assumptions. So, Clevin, they are basically intending to explain the relationship of how things affect each other rather than arriving at the total values of things. Okay. So, it will not really work that way. Fisher's theory tells that people hold money. Fisher initially told that people hold money just for one purpose to buy goods and service. Finished. While the neoclassical approach says that people hold money for two reasons. Number one, to buy goods and services, and number two, for protection against any risk that may arise, any uncertainty that may arise in the future. That's it. Speculative means where some kind of estimate or guesswork is involved, which is not 100% sure. एक अंदाज, एक guess, एक educated guess को speculation बोलते हैं. Velocity means how many times transaction is taking place. For example, suppose this is 10 rupees. I give this 10 rupees to this person. This person gives to another person. That gives to another person. So this 10 rupees circulating how many times? That is velocity of circulation. One time, two time, three time. That is velocity of circulation. Two to 3 minutes more and then I'll start discussing. Aisha, we haven't started a Keynesian approach yet. Critical rate of interest will be used there. क्लासिकल थ्योरी केवल ये बोलता है कि मनी को अपने होल्ड करते हैं सामान खरीदने के लिए, खत्म हो गया बात. जबकि न्यू क्लासिकल बोलता है मनी को अपने होल्ड करते हैं सामान खरीदने के लिए भी, और कल को कोई रिस्क हो जाए उस रिस्क से बचने के लिए, उस रिस्क से फाइट करने के लिए भी. Fiat money means money held as legal tender. Fiat money means money which has received the approval of government. For example, 500 rupee notes has the approval of government. It is a legal tender. Hence, it is a fiat money as it is issued under the order of the government. Speculative motive means guesswork. Suppose an investment opportunity comes. For example, this remote business is prospering. So I am planning that I buy 1000 remotes for 20 rupees and sell them for 200 rupees. That I will be able to do if I have 20,000 rupees today. then only I will be able to take advantage of this investment opportunity. Yes or no? That is called speculative motive. स्पेक्युलेटिव मोटिव मतलब कोई फ्यूचर बेनिफिट होने वाला है, उसका मौका आज ही अपने को हाथ लगा, बट उसके लिए हाथ में पैसा चाहिए, उसको बोलते हैं स्पेक्युलेटिव मोटिव. नाउ टेम्पररी अबोर्ड मीन्स टेम्पररी स्टोरेज ऑफ मनी. आयशा, temporary abode means temporary storage of money. I have already written it here. Storage. This is the meaning of abode. Abode actually means a house, but here it is actually meaning you are asking from institute material. You are reading the institute material. Now moving on. So friends, now finally we move on to the next work or next motive, next theory, which is the Keynesian theory. Next theory, which is the Keynesian theory. Keynesian theory. So everybody, let's start talking about it. What does Keynesian theory say? As per Keynesian theory, people hold money for three motives. There are three reasons why people hold money. Three motives behind holding money. Three motives behind holding money. There are three motives behind holding money as per Keynesian theory. What are the three motives? I have already told you. Transaction motive, transaction motive. That is to purchase goods and services. To purchase goods and services. To purchase goods and services, right? Yes, sir. Transaction motive. Next is precautionary motive. Next is precautionary motive. Next is precautionary motive. Precautionary motive. Precautionary motive is for unanticipated, is basically to meet unplanned expenditures. Expenditures you did not plan for. Unplanned expenditures. Suppose you went to play cricket one day, है ना, and you wanted to buy a cricket ball. So you took 100 rupees with you. That is transaction motive, to purchase goods and services. In the process, what happened? Oh my God, you were playing cricket and you got injured. Now for your first aid facility, you have to spend 200 or 300 rupees. That is called precautionary motive. That is called precautionary motive. That is called precautionary motive. To meet unplanned expenditures. And finally, you have the speculative demand. You have the speculative demand. Finally, you have the speculative demand. To take advantage of any attractive investment opportunity. To exploit any attractive investment opportunity. To exploit any attractive investment opportunities. For example, you have to buy shares, you have to buy gold, some property, some flat, some land, something like this. Is this clear, everyone? Now friends, we will use 2 to 3 terms. Please remember once. Number one, remember that market value of bonds. Friends, have you done in maths this annuity time value chapter? Please tell me yes or no. I am writing a statement first, note it down. Market value of bonds and market rate of interest, market value of bonds and market value of interest are inversely proportional, are inversely proportional, are inversely proportional, are inversely proportional, are inversely proportional. Market value of bonds and market rate of interest are inversely proportional. My question is, have you done bond valuation? Okay, so whatever it is, first of all, what is a bond? Okay, friends, first of all, remember this: bonds and other securities like debentures are all the same. Basically what happens is, होता क्या है कि मान लीजिए मैंने एक बॉन्ड खरीदा, मान लीजिए 1000 रुपीज का। कितने रुपए का? 1000 रुपए का। 1000 रुपए का। तो अब ऐसा है कि बॉन्ड अगर 1000 रुपए का है, इस पर बॉन्ड बेसिकली होता क्या, मैंने इसे 1000 रुपए में खरीदा, आई परचेज इट फॉर 1000 रुपीज। नाउ फॉर सम पीरियड, लेट्स से 10 years or 5 years, I will get a constant interest of 10% or let's say 8% per annum. Okay, this much clear? Now remember that market value of bond is inversely proportional to the market rate of interest. Meaning what? That if the interest rate in market rises, if the interest rate in market rises, then market value of bond falls. Sir, why? Sir, why? Suppose, sir, why? Suppose bond is offering interest at the rate of 6% per annum, and now market market is offering the interest rate as 8%. Market means the generally banks and other options available. So where will people want to put their money? Of course, in the market. So therefore, the demand for bond, so therefore, the demand for bond will fall. And you all know, if the demand for something falls, then the price of that thing is also going to fall. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Bond is also like a debt, like a debenture. You have heard debenture? It's like that. It's a debt. Similarly, suppose if bond is giving 6% per annum, but the market interest is going at anywhere around 3%. So people will like to buy bond instead of keeping their money in the bank. So the demand for bond is going to rise. So the price of bond is going to rise. This is what I am saying. Market value of bonds and market rate of interest are inversely proportional. I repeat my statement. Market value of bonds and market rate of interest are inversely proportional. Friends, is that crystal clear? Yes or no, please? Is that clear, everybody? Is that clear, everybody? Great. So now what I say is, I give you two terminologies. Please remember these two terminologies. Two rates of interest. Terminology is related to rates of interest I am giving you. Please remember that. Okay? Two rates of interest concepts I am giving you. Please pay attention and listen carefully. Listen carefully. Concept number one. Concept number one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. nominal or the critical rate of interest. First one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. First one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. First one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. First one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. I repeat, first one is the nominal or the critical rate of interest. Okay. And the second is the current rate of interest. Current ROI. Current ROI. Sir, first of all, rate of interest, let me write. First of all, what is current rate of interest? Very simple. Very simple. It is the market rate of interest. Your question will be critical. बताइए critical rate of interest क्या होता है? वो भी मैं बता देता हूं. करंट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट आपको चमका, मार्केट रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट को बोलते हैं. So everybody, current rate of interest is market rate of interest. What is nominal or critical rate of interest? Everyone, nominal or critical rate of interest. Everybody, nominal or critical rate of interest is rate of interest based on investors expectation. Investor का क्या expectation है? अरे investor का क्या expectation है? Rate of interest based on investors expectation. Rate of interest based on investors expectation. So nominal or critical rate of interest is the rate of interest based on investors expectation. कि investment investors का क्या expectation है? Investors के दिमाग में चल रहा है 8% रेट चाहिए, cash I get 10% rate of interest. That is nominal or critical rate of interest. Current rate of interest is the actual, which is the truth. Now which is greater? Any can be. मतलब there is no rule. It can be that critical rate is 10%, this is 12, or vice versa, this is 12, this is 10. There is no hard and fast rule as to that. But just remember the two concepts. Now, relation, very important, relation between the two. What is the relation between the two? What is the relation between the two? First of all, friends, take a screenshot if not done, or write it down if not written. I'm waiting and then I'll proceed. This much you have understood? So rate of interest is the nominal one, which is based on investors' expectation, and current rate of interest is the actual rate of interest, as the name itself suggests. बढ़िया. आगे बढ़े क्या? Shall we proceed? Okay, let's go. Relation between the two. Relation between the two. Very, very important. Relationship between the two. Yes. Critical rate of interest is the thing with the is just what is investor is expecting. कि काश इतना interest rate हो, बस. Everybody say kash. Those who understand English, kash means what if. Kash is an Hindi word. Translated into English, it is what if. Bas. That is nominal critical rate of interest. Barabar? Now, relationship between current rate and critical rate. Between current rate and critical rate. Now, friends, there are two approaches in that regard. To be very honest, there are two approaches in that regard. Okay. So now, relation between current rate and critical rate, there are two things in this regard. See, so the two things are, please pay attention, please pay attention. First thing is, if the current rate मतलब actual rate, current rate मतलब actual rate, current rate मतलब actual rate. पहली बात is, current rate is greater than the nominal rate. Is greater than the nominal rate. पहली बात is कि current rate is greater than the nominal rate. And दूसरी बात, and the second thing is current rate is less than the nominal rate. अच्छा, by the way, nominal, I hope you understand ना. Nominal when I say, I mean critical. When I say nominal, I mean critical. Critical. And now, what if the current rate is less than the nominal rate? What if the current rate is less than the nominal rate? So there are two types of actions that the investor will take. Current rate. Please pay attention. Nominal rate, nominal rate. Suppose investor का expectation है. Suppose, example, investor expectation is 10% interest on bonds, but they are getting 15% interest on bonds. So what will investor do? They will buy bonds or hold cash. You tell me, they will buy bonds or hold cash. I repeat my statement. Current rate is the actual rate of bonds. जो चल रहा है वो 15% चल रहा है इंटरेस्ट, पर इन्वेस्टर को चाहिए 10%, बट इंटरेस्ट चल रहा है 15% ऑन बॉन्ड्स, ऑन बॉन्ड्स, ऑन बॉन्ड्स. व्हाट विल द इन्वेस्टर डू? दे विल प्रेफर टू होल्ड मनी और प्रेफर टू बाई बॉन्ड्स. यू ऑल टेल मी. बेसिक कॉमन सेंस, बेसिक कॉमन सेंस. कम ऑन, आंसर मी. Of course they will buy bonds. Exactly, Divya, that is what I am saying. They will buy bonds क्योंकि उनके सपने से भी बड़ा उनको मिल रहा है. 10% चाहिए उनको, 15% मिल रहा है. So of course the idea would be to buy bonds. Action: buy and hold government bonds because bonds are issued by the government. तो buy and hold, hold मतलब अपने पास रखो. Buy and hold government bonds, government bonds. Action by the investor, action by the investor. Buy and hold government bonds. और क्या करना है? But if I convert this, if the current rate is less than the nominal rate, let's say 10%, and we want 15%. So investor is expecting ki what if I receive 15%, but I'm getting only 10%, or let's say 4% for that matter. So nobody will want 4%. Instead of 4%, they will prefer to hold cash. Action: yes, 4% interest is good, but it is so small that people will actually prefer cash. Action: investors would prefer cash. Acha, by the way, this is all conceptualized by Fisher. This is not conceptualized by Ashish Kedia, that is me. It is conceptualized by Keynes, not even Fisher. It's all the concept given by Keynes, Keynesian concept. So, so action is investors would hold only cash. Would hold only cash. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everybody. Hopefully it's crystal clear, everybody. Come on, note this down, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do it fatafat. Now, friends, we will understand the concept of liquidity trap. Shall we talk about? Okay. So now put the heading liquidity trap. All this is coming under Keynesian approach only. Liquidity trap is also coming under Keynesian approach only. So put the heading liquidity trap. Put the heading liquidity trap then, dear students. Liquidity trap. Liquidity trap. Friends, normally when you increase money supply, when I say you, I means the bank. I mean RBI. Pay attention now. I will explain this in English as well as Hindi क्योंकि complicated है. मामला complicated है, ध्यान से सुनिएगा. When RBI increases money supply, that is infuses more money into the economy, when RBI pushes more money into the economy, what is the expectation of RBI? The RBI expectation is that once money supply is increased, everybody is having money. Once money supply is increased, everybody is having money. Once money supply is increased, everybody is having money. Once money supply is increased, everybody is having money. So now everybody is having money, so the demand will rise. So there will be economic growth taking place. Economic activity is going to rise. Yes or no? हिंदी में बोलता हूं. जब आरबीआई इकोनॉमी में और पैसे डालता है, जिसको बोलते हैं एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी, जब आरबीआई इकोनॉमी में और पैसे डालते हैं, जिसको बोलते हैं एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनिटरी पॉलिसी, तो उम्मीद ये किया जाता है कि इकोनॉमी में डिमांड बढ़ेगा, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ और ये सारी चीजें होने लगेंगी. हाँ या ना? ये जवाब दीजिए आप मुझे. अग्रीड. अग्रीड. तो देयर कम्स अ सिचुएशन. अब आगे सुनो. सो देयर कम्स अ सिचुएशन. सो देयर कम्स अ सिचुएशन when even this expansionary monetary policy fails. Means RBI is increasing money supply in the economy. Despite the increase in money supply in the economy, there is no effect on aggregate economic activity. There is no increase in aggregate demand. There is no change in anything. Such a situation is called liquidity trap. Sir, why does it happen? That is the second question. That is the second question. But did you understand, yes or no? When does this happen? When interest rate become too low. So friends, when interest rate is too low, suppose interest rate is 1% or 2%. This has happened in Japan. Suppose interest rate is 2% or 1%. When the interest rate is too low, then the opportunity cost of holding money is nothing. If I am keeping money at my home or I am keeping the money at my bank, why are you all keeping money in your bank? Because the bank is offering somewhere around 10%, 6%, 5%, okay, 7%, etc., 4%. But if the interest rate is, let's say, around 0.5%, then the opportunity cost of holding money is zero. Means even if I keep the money at my home, it will hardly matter because the interest rate is just 0.5%. So even if the RBI now pushes more money into the economy, people will not spend. People will maintain it with themselves instead of putting it in the bank or some other place. Why? Because the opportunity cost of holding money is zero. Why? Because the interest rates are so low. लिक्विडिटी ट्रैप तब होता है जब इंटरेस्ट रेट इतने कम हो जाए, 0.5% हो जाए, तो लोगों को ये लगेगा कि भाई हम पैसे घर पर रखें या बैंक में, बात तो एक ही है. फिर उससे ज्यादा भरोसा तो फिर अपने घर पर है. इस समय अगर आरबीआई सोचता और मनी इकोनॉमी में डाल दें तो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ हो जाए, तो वो नहीं होगा। क्यों? क्योंकि लोगों के पास पैसा आएगा, लोग क्या करेंगे, घर पे ही रख लेंगे, इकोनॉमी में डालेंगे ही नहीं। क्यों? क्योंकि अपॉर्चुनिटी कॉस्ट ऑफ होल्डिंग मनी इज जीरो। इकोनॉमी में अगर 8% 10% इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा हो, तो लोग सोचें कि चल पैसा डाल के वो इंटरेस्ट बनाते हैं, बट वो तो है ही नहीं। क्या आपको बात समझ में आई? फ्रेंड्स, डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस? यस और नो? कम ऑन गाइस। इट इज इनअफेक्टिव सिचुएशन, ineffective monetary policy. Liquidity trap can be called as ineffective monetary policy. Ineffective monetary policy. Ineffective monetary policy. I will make you write the notes, but first let's read it from the institute's material. Let's first read it from the ICAI material. Then I will make you write the notes, okay? ये देखिए, लिक्विडिटी ट्रैप थोड़ा नीचे है, ये रहा। Everybody pay attention. Liquidity trap is a situation, as I told, when even expansionary monetary policy does not increase the increase interest rate income and hence does not stimulate economic growth. कोई effect नहीं है. It is the extreme effect of monetary policy. It is a situation in which the general public is prepared to hold on to whatever amount of money is supplied at a given rate of interest. Why? Because they fear deflation or war will happen. Like in this Russia versus Ukraine crisis. People in Ukraine are afraid. So even if they are getting money from the government, they're keeping it. They're not investing it. In that case, a monetary policy carried out through open market operation has no effect on either the interest rate or the level of income. In a liquidity trap, the monetary policy is powerless to affect the interest rate. Liquidity trap happens at short-term 0% interest rate. When interest rate is zero, public would not want to hold any bond. Since money which also has 0% interest has the advantage of being usable. That is what I told. When interest rates are too low, then people prefer holding cash rather than bonds. In other words, investors would maintain cash savings rather than bonds. Investment. The speculative demand becomes perfectly elastic with respect to interest rate, and the speculative money demand curve becomes perfectly elastic with respect to interest rate, and the speculative money demand curve becomes parallel to x-axis. Such a situation is called liquidity trap. Here it is. This is the Japan's case where it happened. Very low rate of interest. Opportunity cost of holding money is zero. Understood? Yes, sir. So now let's write down what is liquidity trap point wise. Situation in which expansionary monetary situation in which expansionary monetary policy situation in which expansionary monetary policy fails to situation in which expansionary monetary policy fails to promote economic growth. Situation in which expansionary monetary policy fails to promote economic growth. Expansionary monetary policy fails to promote economic growth. People prefer to hold money comparing to buy bonds. It happens during situation of war. बिकॉज वॉर के टाइम पे पैसा ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, तो लोग सोचते हैं भैया अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट करने की जगह सीरियस सिचुएशन है, कंट्री से भागना पड़ सकता है, पैसे बचा के रखो, शौक बाद में पूरे कर लेना. हैपेंस ड्यूरिंग सिचुएशंस ऑफ वॉर एटसेट्रा. हियर interest rates are almost zero, are almost zero, and speculative demand for money, speculative demand for money becomes, speculative demand for money becomes, speculative demand for money becomes, speculative demand for money becomes perfectly elastic. Speculative demand for money becomes perfectly elastic. Speculative demand for money becomes perfectly elastic with respect to interest rate. WRT means with respect to interest rate. Here monetary policy is useless. Monetary policy becomes useless. Becomes useless in this situation. Becomes useless in this situation. Becomes useless in this situation. Friends, this is what liquidity trap is. I hope it's clear. Take a screenshot or do whatever it is. Speculative demand for money becomes perfectly elastic with respect to, WRT means with respect to interest rate. All right, great, sir. Great, sir. Great, sir. Now, once you have understood liquidity trap, once you have understood liquidity trap, now we talk about post Keynes. This is still Keynes, okay? As I told you, the first three are the most important ones. The good news is we have been able to complete the first three. That is the QTM, the cash balance, and the LPT. Now, the post Keynes we can discuss. Though, from my standpoint, this portion till here is much more important, okay? But we will complete this, of course. We will not leave anything. Post Keynesian developments. Post Keynesian developments. Post Keynesian developments. Post Keynesian developments. So, friends, if we talk about post Keynesian developments, then we come to this one. Number one, inventory approach. Inventory approach. Inventory approach. Inventory approach. This model was developed by Baumol and Tobin, both. Both worked here. Both Baumol and Tobin. They looked as money as an inventory. Just like you have raw materials in the godown, they looked at money as a raw material used to undertake transactions. They looked at money as an inventory to undertake transactions. They look at money as an inventory to undertake transactions. बस ट्रांजैक्शंस करने के लिए मनी को देखा जाता है एक इन्वेंटरी की तरह. बॉमल एंड टॉबिन. So we can write money viewed as an inventory held for transaction purposes. Held for transaction purposes. And factors affecting money, factors affecting inventory of money means how much money you are holding. You means the organization, the business. Factors affecting inventory of money. Number one, income levels. Number one, income levels. Number one, income levels. So as the income increases, expense increases. So the requirement of inventory also increases. So the requirement of inventory also increases. Inventory means stock of money that you need to keep. That increases. Other assets. So obviously, if an organization is holding other assets like bonds are grow more, shares are more, then money will be less because all this money is invested into bonds and shares. So there will be inverse relationship then. Transfer costs or transaction costs. So you know, to buy bonds, to buy or sell bonds, brokerage fees involved. Many other costs are involved, but let's say brokerage fees is involved. Yes or no? Fees is involved, which is called a transaction cost, which is called a repeat transaction cost. So friends, if transaction costs are high, if transaction costs are high, then the transactions, then the number of transactions, then the number of transactions will be low. What kind of transactions? To convert cash to bonds or bond to cash. To convert cash to bonds or bond to cash. To convert cash to bonds or bond to cash. The number of transactions will be low. Is that clear, friends? Come on, everybody. Sir, it's clear. So income level, other assets, transaction costs are all written here. Got it? Yes, sir. Another thing, opportunity cost. Another factor, there is opportunity or carrying cost. Opportunity or carrying cost. Opportunity or carrying cost. If high interest loss, opportunity cost is the sacrifice of interest. Yes or no? If you're holding money, you are sacrificing interest. So opportunity cost is the interest loss. If high interest loss, then high opportunity cost. It means high opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the cost of sacrifice. You all know this. If high interest loss, then high opportunity cost, then the money holdings will reduce because you will not want to sacrifice more interest. Yes or no, everybody? Yes, sir, we agree. Yes, sir, we agree. So please note this down, everybody. This is only required in this one, inventory, or this Baumol and Tobin approach. Screenshot, please. Screenshot, please. Screenshot, please. Friends, next what we discuss is Friedman's theory. Friedman's theory, or the quantitative theory of Friedman. Okay. So Friedman theory. Friedman theory. So it was Milton Friedman in 1956. Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman. So everybody, Milton Friedman tells the demand for money is like demand for capital assets. Capital assets means machinery, long-term assets, furniture. So Friedman tells that demand for money is like demand for capital assets. So Milton Friedman treats demand for money, demand for money, demand for money as demand for capital assets, as demand for capital assets, as demand for capital assets. Demand for capital assets. Milton Friedman treats demand for money as demand for capital assets. So as per this, determinants of demand for money or factors affecting demand for money, as per Milton Friedman, are factors affecting demand for money, as per Milton Friedman, are number one, permanent income. Number one is permanent income. Sir, first of all, what is permanent income? You have understood in this maths annuity chapter, present value approach. Future amount brought to today's present value. So permanent income is the present value of all future incomes. So present value of all future incomes. All future incomes. And as per him, total wealth that an individual has is permanent income that you have divided by discount rate. Now, what is discount rate here? Discount rate is basically the rate of interest. Discount rate is basically the rate of interest on, bonds, etc. Rate of interest on money, bonds, equity, physical capital, human capital, all this. Return on. It is basically discount rate is the return. Return means amount you invest and you gain in the terms of percentage on money, on bonds, on equity, on physical capital, as well as on human capital. As well as human capital. So number one is permanent income. Number one is permanent income. Number two is price level. Number two is price level. Number two is price level. Of course, if price level rises, demand for money will rise because things will become more expensive. So you will need more money to spend. If price level rises, demand of money increases. Demand for money also rises. Demand for money also rises in the process. So price level is one such point. So price level is one such point. Third point, same opportunity cost. Same as above. Opportunity cost is the cost of sacrifice. अगर मैं ज्यादा मनी होल्ड करूंगा तो मैं बैंक में नहीं रख पाऊंगा, तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट का लॉस होगा. अगर मेरा इंटरेस्ट का लॉस ज्यादा होगा तो मैं कम मनी होल्ड करूंगा. बट अगर इंटरेस्ट बहुत कम रहा तो मैं बोलूंगा गया तो गया, मैं मनी ज्यादा होल्ड करूंगा. यस और नो, कम ऑन. यस सर. Same as above. Above means when I talk about Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman. And finally, inflation. Please note it down. A positive inflation rate, a positive inflation rate, a positive inflation rate reduces the value of money balances. What? It reduces the value of money balances. It reduces the value of money balances. So friends, this is what you have to take screenshot of, or you have to note down. Milton Friedman, this portion, Friedman's theory. Okay. Now, another approach Tobin gave, demand for money as a behavior towards risk. The last approach. You see, we have discussed this. As I told now, we will discuss some theories today. So see, Baumol done, Friedman done, now Tobin is left. Baumol and Tobin were together, now Tobin is coming separately as well. So let's see what Tobin says. Tobin's theory is basically demand for money as behavior towards risk. As behavior towards risk. Demand for money as behavior towards risk. Again, this approach was highlighted by Tobin. Now here, what does Tobin say? I will explain in English and Hindi. Tobin यहाँ बोलता है कि लोग इसलिए पैसे होल्ड करते हैं या रखते हैं क्योंकि पहला बात, लोगों को पता है कि पैसे होल्ड करने पे ना तो कोई कैपिटल गेन होगा ना कोई कैपिटल लॉस होगा. बट अगर मैं कोई फ्लैट खरीदता हूं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई एम सेइंग, और फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं कोई बॉन्ड खरीदता हूं गवर्नमेंट का, तो उसका आज कीमत 1,000 रुपया है, कल को गिर के वो बॉन्ड 700 का हो सकता है, तो मेरा तो 300 का कैपिटल लॉस हो गया. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, मनी हैज नो कैपिटल लॉस. नाउ ट्रांसलेटिंग इट इनटू इंग्लिश, what Tobin says, the first reason people hold money is because money has no capital loss. If I am holding 1,000 rupees today, 1 week later also it will be 1,000 rupees with me. But what if I buy government bonds and 1 week later or 1 year later it becomes worth rupees 700? So I will be bearing 300 rupees loss, capital loss. So Tobin's number one explanation is that there is no kind of risk in terms of capital loss involved in holding money. Second, alternative assets like bonds are subject to market volatility. Market goes up, down, so the price goes up and down, but money remains the same. And finally, return on money, return on holding money is more certain than the return on holding other assets. For example, if I have 500 rupee with me, I know that out of 500, I can convert this 500 into 600 by doing some business. So there is reasonable certainty there. But in terms of holding other instruments, the return may become 5% today, it may become 2% later on, become 10%. So return keeps on fluctuating for other assets. But if you hold money, you relatively know what is going to happen. That is what I'm trying to say. And this is what basically Tobin was trying to say. As per Tobin, it is called demand. Demand for money as a behavior towards risk. Behavior towards risk. Behavior towards risk dash Tobin. Write down in the chat. Behavior towards risk dash Tobin. Behavior towards risk dash Tobin. Behavior towards risk dash Tobin. Write it down in the chat box, please. As per Tobin, an individual would hold money in the portfolio because return on holding money is more certain. Return on holding money is more certain. No capital loss. No capital loss. And finally, not subject to market volatility. Money is not subject to market volatility. Money is not subject to market volatility like other assets. Please note this down, everybody. Money is not subject to market volatility. Money is not subject to market volatility. Take a screenshot or write this down, please, everybody. Let's solve 2 or 3 questions so that we understand whether we have, completely been able to grab this topic or not. Come on, everybody. Let's solve some questions and see. Let's solve a couple of questions and see. Choose the correct statement. Incorrect statement. Anything that would act as a medium of exchange is money. No. Only anything that has act as a medium of exchange is not money. For example, if I give this pen and want something, let's say a piece of cloth in return, that would not be money. Money has multiple features: medium, measure, standard, store. Just one feature being satisfied is not correct. So this is the correct answer. Means incorrect, but answer wise this is correct. Money has generalized purchasing power. This is correct. Money is totally liquid. Yes. Currency represents money which does not have intrinsic value. Correct. Intrinsic means inherent value. Means currency is of no use if the government tells it. Currency is only useful because government tells it is useful. Money performs all of the 3 functions mentioned below. Namely, what 3 functions does money perform? Price control, store of value, no. Unit of account means measure of value, store of value. Provide yields, no. Medium of exchange, store of value, yes. Sir, what does unit of account mean? I made you write measure of value, na? You can measure any item in terms of money. So unit of account means measure of value, nothing else. So this is the correct answer. Demand for money is what? I had made you write in the red line. It is a derived demand. Demand for money is a derived demand. Fourth one, let's see. Higher the dash, higher would be dash of holding cash and lower will be the dash. So see, higher the interest rate. If interest rate is high, then you are sacrificing a lot. So the opportunity cost, that is the sacrificing cost, would be high. And so you will demand less money. Lower will be the demand for money because you will want to keep the money in the bank and make interest on that. Next, the quantity theory, the first one that we discussed, the Fisher one, holds what? Changes in the general level of prices are caused by changes in quantity of money. Yes. Strong relationship between money and price. Yes. Changes in the value of purchasing power are determined first and foremost by changes in quantity of money. Yes. All of the above. Cambridge approach, very good. Cambridge approach is also known as what? Cash balance approach. So friends, we have completed some questions and we have done it correctly. Yes or no? Fisher and Cambridge. Next, seventh question, what they are saying? Approach to demand for money, consider money as a means of transaction and therefore demand for money is only transaction motive. Yes. Under the Fisher and the Cambridge. What is common to both is the transaction motive. What is common to both is the transaction motive. What is real money? This we have discussed so many times. Nominal money adjusted to price level means inflation adjusted. I have told you this in national income also. Real money is nominal money minus inflation. Real money is nominal money minus inflation impact. Precautionary money balances people want to hold as income elastic and not very sensitive to rate of interest. Yes. Speculative demand for money is affected by or is demand affected by speculative demand is negatively related to interest rates. How? If interest rate rises, then people will want to invest money in this area. So the speculative reason for holding money or the speculative demand will fall. Why? Because people will enjoy high interest rate rather than doing guesswork. That is it for the day, friends. Next day, we will complete or we will talk about supply of money. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.